Hey there, how's it going? Welcome to the video. There are so many different types of motorcycles and even more different types of riders in this big wide world. And whether you ride a sport bike Chad, a cruiser boomer, or an adventure bike dad, we're all unified by one thing. No, it's not the love of the open road or the pursuit of acceptance from other males in our community. It's the desire to go faster. And for most motorcycles, whether it be conservative engine tunes or emissions restrictions, there's often quite a bit of juice left untapped deep within your motorcycle, waiting to be unlocked by the rider by voiding your warranty and doing illegal things. And once you got your engine freed up and making a bit more power, there are even more modifications you can make so your bike handles better and lets you carve corners with confidence. You can be marginally faster than your friend with the same bike. Or you could eat a salad because it's cheaper than carbon fiber. But today we're talking about top 5 performance mods that actually work. No snake oil or folklore here, just tried and true blueprints to procure all the potential yeet energy within your motorcycle. Without further ado, let's jump in. The first mod that almost every rider does to their bike is install an aftermarket exhaust. The exhaust systems that come installed on a motorcycle from the factory are usually big, heavy, and quiet, kind of like a Snorlax, and as a result, create a less free-flowing engine. There are many mandatory standards a motorcycle exhaust system must meet in order to be produced and sold in different markets all over the world. These restrictions are in place not only to reduce emissions, but also to produce a sound that falls beneath a certain decibel level and improve fuel efficiency. These factors end up resulting in an engine that many riders describe as being corked up or robbed of potential power or having weird torque dips in the mid-range. Kind of messes everything up. The more restrictive exhaust systems reduce the amount of power an engine is able to produce. By installing a less restrictive exhaust system, an engine has the potential to make more power. The most power gains will come from other additional modifications done in conjunction with an exhaust. You cannot just slap on a tomato can and expect 10 horsepower gains. Doesn't work that way. But a clear and universal advantage to an aftermarket exhaust system, regardless of other mods, is the weight reduction that will come from doing away with the big bulky bread box that many modern exhaust systems utilize. That there's the catalytic converter. It's what crackheads sell for money. By freeing your bike of its bulky exhaust system,
oh, this is a heavy boy,
and replacing it with an aftermarket performance system, you can see a very clear reduction in weight. As an example, an MT-09 with the full Yoshimura exhaust system replaces the full OEM system from the headers all the way to the muffler, reduces the weight by 6 pounds, and provides a 2.7 increase in horsepower and a 1.6 increase in torque. And look, those aren't massive gains in and of themselves. It is an awesome foundation on which to build further modifications upon. As a full exhaust system will almost always necessitate an ECU tune in order to see maximum benefits, but even just the installation of a slip-on exhaust that utilizes stock headers and mid-pipe can offer a little reduction in weight, a little improvement in sound, and the potential for a little bit more oomph from the engine. But an ECU tune, also known as a flash, is done to improve the air-to-fuel ratios in your bike. It is typically done alongside other performance modifications like the exhaust as previously mentioned, or an air intake or modifications to the air intake system. These changes can result in an increase in power, but there are many advantages to having your ECU flashed outside of just an increase in peak power. An ECU flash can improve the throttle response and smooth out your fueling across much of the rev range as well. It can also increase the torque across the rev range too. You'll feel that low down in the revs. If you've already installed a full system exhaust, an ECU flash is highly recommended to get the optimal riding experience. A fuel-injected bike can do a decent job at compensating for a freer flowing exhaust, but it's really worth investing in a tune to ensure your air-to-fuel ratios are totally dialed in and make the most out of your new exhaust. Not only that, ECU flashes can also adjust for timing, open up secondary throttle blades faster, get the RPMs up further for the idle. You can do all kinds of stuff with an ECU flash. And there are multiple ways to going about having your ECU tuned. You could use a piggyback system like a DynoJet PowerVision Power Commander. You could send your ECU off to a tuning company to install the tune for you based on your modifications and desired outcome, or you can take your bike to a performance shop and have it dyno tuned for optimal results. A piggyback system is probably the easiest way to see fueling improvements alongside your exhaust modifications. A piggyback tuner plugs into your existing ECU and makes adjustments to your fueling table. With this type of tuner, you're able to download off-the-shelf maps based on your motorcycle and existing mods. Additionally, with a piggyback tuner, you can use the auto-tune feature that collects data as you ride and makes improvements to the air-to-fuel ratios accordingly. But sending your ECU off to be tuned can provide a much more comprehensive tune beyond what's available from an off-the-shelf map. This can involve changes to the ignition, increase the RPM redline, enable or disable certain sensors. Having your bike tuned on a dyno is a must for an engine with highly extensive modifications, like a full exhaust system in conjunction with air intake, cams, timing, or forced induction, like my Turbo Busa. I had it dyno tuned like 3 different times. Did it work? Nah, it still blew up. If you want the most involved tune with the biggest chances of performance gains, a professional tune on a dyno is going to be the best bet. But I'm a big fan of just doing the good old ECU Flash. It's super simple too. You just pop off the ECU, mail it to some guy in a back shed, and he ships it back to you, and your bike goes faster. That's neat. A perfect example of a motorcycle that was completely transformed by an exhaust and an ECU flash is the Kawasaki ZX4RR. I had this bike as a giveaway motorcycle, and it was a night and day transformation last year when we flashed the ECU. From stock, this high-revving 4-cylinder makes just 58 horsepower to the rear wheel. We actually had it dyno tuned, tapering off dramatically after 11,000 RPM. Literally flatlined, like nobody's home. Look at the dyno chart. Ouch. After an exhaust install and an ECU flash, this bike makes a whopping 75 horsepower to the tire. While that is just an increase of 17 horsepower, that's a 30% gain for an engine this small, and it makes torque all across the rev range too. Even leader bikes with nothing but a full exhaust system and an ECU flash can make 200 horsepower to the rear tire, which is really insane when you think about it. Then there are, of course, super crazy motorcycle builds, 2 of which I've experienced firsthand with my Turbo Busa and the fully built Kawasaki H2. If you're a longtime Yami Noob viewer, you may have picked up on the fact that I'm a bit of a watch enthusiast. You can usually catch one on my wrist during the in-studio videos when I'm not decked out in riding gear. Since both watches and motorcycles are near and dear to me, Rec Watches is a brand that's been on my radar for a long time, and I'm super stoked to announce that they are proud sponsors of today's video. Rec Watches is an independent watch brand from Denmark that specializes in using materials from historic vehicles as part of every timepiece. Their TTT series stands for Twist the Throttle and are made for historically significant motorcycles. The TTT Knievel, which is made from parts from Evel Knievel's final stunt bike, a Harley-Davidson XR750, which he used in the Shark Jump stunt in 1977. Evel Knievel is, of course, a world-renowned motorcyclist and stuntman that transcended cultural arenas to become a household name. The Shark Jump would become his final stunt as he crashed during a practice jump and fractured his right arm and collarbone. The TTT Knievel wristwatch commemorates Knievel's legacy to using materials from the iconic Harley-Davidson XR750 that was used during the stunt. To be precise, the bike's handlebar levers have been reforged to form the star at the 12 o'clock on the watch. That's right, a piece of Evel Knievel's iconic last stunt bike is inside each watch. This watch is highly limited with only 736 pieces being made. The TTT Knievel watches are currently available and can be purchased with 25% off the preferential pricing using the code YAMI. If you're a watch collector like me and appreciate the rich automotive history Rec Watches incorporates into their timepieces, hit the link in the description to check out the TTT Knievel and get your 25% off. Thanks so much to Rec Watches for the support on today's video. I'm a huge fan and appreciative of the support. Once you've got your exhaust and fueling taken care of, the next essential performance mod for your motorcycle is upgrading your suspension. Most motorcycles sold today are sprung for a 170-pound rider, and if you live in America and have been to a Walmart recently, you know that's pretty far from the middle of the bell curve for an average size of an American male these days. If you're lucky enough to be sized appropriately for your stock suspension, having it dialed in by a professional can make a world of difference in the way your motorcycle rides. When your suspension settings are not properly set up, you're going to notice a detrimental effect to your handling. Your bike's going to feel less sure-footed in a corner and behave awkwardly under hard braking. To ensure your motorcycle is behaving optimally, your suspension should be dialed in and appropriately set to your size and riding style. If your motorcycle doesn't have adjustable suspension, then it probably isn't worth spending so much time and money upgrading it for performance outside of an upgraded spring, which is nearly mandatory if you're a bigger rider and intend on keeping your bike for a while. Seriously, if you're tipping the scales at above like 240, 250 pounds, you're gonna need a new spring for your bike. You can tack in as much preload as you want, it's not gonna help the problem, it's only gonna mask it. You're reducing the overall travel of the spring, and it's just not optimal. Even if your bike has premium adjustable suspension, but you find yourself tipping the scales a bit heavier than that 170 pounds, getting your suspension resprung's gonna make a night and day difference. If you intend on doing some more extreme types of riding, whether it be track riding or off-road, upgrading the suspension components entirely can provide a more optimal experience. Similarly, suspension components are commonly upgraded on motorcycles from Harley-Davidson because, not unlike about half of the parts on these bikes, the suspension can be absolutely pitiful from the factory. An important thing to note is slapping on super expensive, nice suspension on your motorcycle is not going to magically make it handle better. You look at an example like the Yamaha MT-09, the first generation of that bike. The fundamental geometry and chassis of the motorcycle was compromised. You could chuck on Öhlins on that machine, dial it all in. It didn't make the motorcycle handle that much better and solve some of the problems. So realize the bike you have and realize what you're working with before you decide to drop thousands and thousands of dollars on suspension, because suspension's primary job is to provide comfort to the rider, not necessarily to make the ride incredibly good handling. A modification that we can make that makes an incredible difference in your motorcycle's performance and handling is actually just installing good tires. We, of course, know the importance of tires. We know how important it is to making sure your tires are in good health, meaning that they have adequate tread life and are within the manufacturer recommended age, have no visible signs of wear, and are properly inflated to the correct PSI. But how can performance be improved by switching from one tire to another should they be in the same condition? High-performance tires typically have a softer rubber compound that provides better grip, especially in corners and under hard braking and acceleration. This can improve handling and reduce the risk of losing traction, and can also provide better rider feel and confidence. Riders often talk about how a certain tire gives them more confidence and the ability to push harder. Upgraded tires often have a more advanced tread pattern and construction, which can improve the motorcycle's handling characteristics. This can result in more precise handling and better stability. And of course, with more grip, you can have more effective braking. As any track day rider or racer is going to tell you, the faster you can stop, the faster you can ultimately go. Some motorcycle tires provide great grip in dry conditions, offer harder compounds for improved longevity, and some are designed for improved grip in wet conditions. But unfortunately, no one tire is going to excel in every category. That's why for most riders, sport touring tires are a more economical choice than super sport tires. They're well-rounded, no pun intended, or maybe I did intend the pun, and they're multi-purpose. They're going to provide ample grip for street use, operate most effectively at normal temps, and will last a whole lot longer than super sport tires. But that being said, if you're in it just for the performance gains and you want the best grip possible, a super sport tire might be what you're looking for. But bear in mind, they're going to have way shorter lifespans than a sport touring tire. More grip almost always means faster wear. The shape of your tire will also impact how it rides. A more steep tire will be more quick to tip into corners, but will also wear more quickly. For aggressive riding, the Pirelli Diavolo Rosso 4s are a great street tire for more spirited riders. For more casual use, the Michelin Pilot Road 6 is a great balance of grip and longevity. No matter what type of riding you're planning on doing, getting an upgraded set of rubber is a huge improvement over worn-out tires or the chintzy set that came from the manufacturer when you bought the bike at the dealer. And the last modification you can make to improve your motorcycle's performance across the board is to reduce weight. Of course, reducing the weight of a motorcycle will increase your power to weight ratio, but reducing the unsprung weight of your bike can also have a noticeable impact on its handling. Less unsprung weight means that the suspension can respond more quickly to bumps and road imperfections. This can result in improved handling and a smoother ride, especially when riding over rough roads or through corners. Reduced unsprung weight can also improve tire contact with the road, providing better traction and grip, especially during acceleration, braking, and cornering. Lighter wheels and other unsprung components can allow the suspension to work more efficiently, providing better control and feedback to the rider. Some other ways you can reduce the weight of your motorcycle is by replacing parts with aftermarket ones made of lightweight material. This can involve replacing your exhaust, your wheels, your bodywork, and your battery. And something that is maybe a controversial opinion, but one of the most cost-effective weights to reduce on the bike is by losing some weight yourself. Like I said, salads are cheaper than carbon fiber. You can spend thousands of dollars modifying your bike to shave off 10 or 15 pounds, when instead you could hit the gym a little more often and lose some weight there, or just change your diet. Similarly, and I wanted to save this for the end as to not ruffle too many feathers, one of the best ways to spend your money to go faster on your bike is to invest in advanced rider courses. For most motorcycles on the street, your performance is limited by your ability, not the motorcycles. Continued rider training can elevate your skills to the next level and make you faster on an existing bike. There's a reason why that guy on a stock Ninja 400 is passing you on the outside, and it's not because he has a Chinesium exhaust. But at the same time, I understand that modifying a bike is more fun, and chipping away at a bike to make it a little more custom and squeeze out as much power as possible is satisfying in its own right. But if you ultimately start seeing diminishing returns while upgrading your bike, consider upgrading yourself as a rider. And a quick pro tip to you at the end here, sprockets. They make a big difference. Look into them. Thanks for making it all the way to the end of the video. How many of these mods have you managed to do? Let me know down in the comments how much more power you've squeezed out of your bike. Are you getting 300 wheel horsepower out of your H2? Be sure to subscribe if you enjoyed the video and check out yammynoob.co to sign up for our newsletter and consider becoming a member for exclusive content, automatic motorcycle giveaway entries, and supporting the show. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all later. Fact: all mammals get goosebumps. Goodbye. Keep watching, Yammy